What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review, and this time we're taking a look at Knocked Up, written and directed by Judd Apatow, starring Seth Rogen. Knocked Up tells the story of this slacker named Ben who meets this career woman named Allison. They hook up in a one-night stand, and Allison accidentally gets pregnant with Ben's child. That is the overall story of Knocked Up. Let's talk about it. Overall, I've always not liked this movie. I liked this movie when I first saw it, and I like it now on a rewatch. Is this a perfect movie? To me, it's not a perfect movie because there are certain things that I would have done a little bit differently. But as an overall total package, I enjoy Knocked Up. I think this is a really good comedic movie, and it also is a movie that has a lot of heart. And not only that, this is pretty much the movie that pretty much cemented Seth Rogen as a leading man when it comes to comedies. Now, Seth Rogen, of course, got his big break with the 40-Year-Old Virgin, but Knocked Up is the movie that pretty much cemented him as a new face of comedy. And as a lead in this movie, I thought Seth Rogen as the character of Ben, he was good. This is when Seth Rogen was making some really funny, good movies. I mean, nowadays his movies are kind of falling. Nowadays his movies, Seth Rogen is not the comedian he used to be. But back then when he was just starting to merge, Rogen was hilarious, and I like him in this movie as Ben. He comes across as a likable slacker who along with friends, is trying to put together a pseudo-pornographic website where you get to see celebrity news. It's stupidly hilarious. Speaking of which, the actors who play the friends of Ben, you've got Jay Baruchel and Jason Segel, who is one of my favorite comics, Jonah Hill, and you also got Martin Starr. Before I get going, the dynamics between the five of these guys is utterly hysterical. Some of my favorite scenes are Ben interacting with his friends, and to me, the standout is Jason Segel. This was my first exposure to Jason Segel, and of course, it just got better once I saw Forgetting Sarah Marshall and I Love You Man. That's where Jason Segel pretty much became one of my all-time favorite comedic actors of the modern era. But Knocked Up was the first. If one of my criticisms, I needed more Jason Segel in this movie because I think Jason Segel is hilarious. Every scene he's in, he cracks me up, along with Seth Rogen, and along with the others as well. That stuff is great. Katherine Heigl, who played the character of Allison, I thought she was okay in the role. I think Katherine Heigl can come across as a little bit bitchy and maybe a little too unlikable to the point where you're kind of feeling more sorry for Ben than you do the character of Allison. Maybe that's just the way Allison was written, or maybe that's just the way Katherine Heigl did the performance. But in certain scenes, I thought Rogen and Heigl have pretty decent on-screen chemistry. At the end of the day, these two have to work as co-leads since pretty much the movie centers around them. And for the most part, it works. Another dynamic that I kind of enjoyed was Leslie Mann and Paul Rudd. They play a married couple who have got their own issues going on. You know, Paul Rudd plays a character called Peter, who's constantly making excuses to leave his house to either go be a manager for a band, when in actuality he's playing fantasy football. And then you have his wife Debbie, who is the sister of Allison, who is more or less kind of like this controlled, freakish type of person. But I like the chemistry between Leslie Mann and Paul Rudd. It works for me. If I do have any complaints, I think the character of Debbie kind of takes center stage maybe a little too much. I understand she's married to Judd Apatow, but this is not the Debbie story. This is the Allison story. I mean, I would have cut down a lot of Debbie and Peter's domestic problems in a way, and I would have highlighted more of Peter and Ben, because the entire Las Vegas scene with Rogen and Paul Rudd is hilarious and it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Not only that, like Jason Segel, Paul Rudd is also one of my favorite comics working, and I love Paul Rudd in this movie. I thought he was hilarious as the character of Peter. You also have Harold Ramis in this movie, who plays Ben's father. It's Harold Ramis. It's Egon from Ghostbusters. You know, and unfortunately, Egon and Ben only have one scene with each other, which was a drag. I would have liked to have seen maybe one more scene with them, because they had pretty decent on-screen chemistry. So yeah, I needed more Harold Ramis in this movie. Cut down on Debbie. Give me more Harold Ramis. Other aspects of this movie, but in terms of the overall storyline for this movie, I enjoyed it. I enjoy this movie immensely because Ben starts off as a slacker, but as the movie progresses, he slowly starts to become more responsible. You know, he has a kid on the way, so he's trying to cut down on the habits that he has, like getting high and not doing much of anything. Like the entire movie sees his character progress especially when you get to the third act of the movie where he kind of moves into his own place, he gets a more secure job, and he starts to accept the fact that he has a child on the way. It's time for him to get some responsibilities. I like how the character of Ben is handled, and I also enjoy the third act with the character of Ken Leong, who plays the doctor who delivers the baby. I thought that entire scene was hilarious. I also love the scene where Ben kind of leaves a threatening message to Allison's original doctor, who ends up not being around because he's on a 3-day vacation for a bar mitzvah. That entire rant that he does is utterly hysterical. So yeah, pretty much. I don't really have a whole lot more to say about Knocked Up. It's a good comedic movie. I like it a lot. I can't say I like this movie more than the 40-year-old version. I think the 40-year-old version is better than Knocked Up, but as a total package, Knocked Up is definitely a movie that to me holds up and is a story that can resonate with you. Knocked Up tells a story that resonates. It feels realistic, and with that, I give this movie a solid 8 out of 10. It still holds up to me. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Knocked Up. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I will check you back next time for more.